Have you ever wondered what happens when bias gets in the way of talent? When someone's future is nearly crushed by the very person who should be nurturing it? Stick around to discover the shocking story of Coach Williams and Marcus Johnson, a tale of prejudice, redemption, and the triumph of talent against all odds. Like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories of justice served in the world of sports. The gymnasium of Westridge High School buzzed with excitement. The squeaking of basketball shoes against the polished wooden floor echoed throughout the space as the Westridge Warriors warmed up for their game against their crosstown rivals, the East Side Eagles. Among the players, 17-year-old Marcus Johnson stood out, 6'6", with quick hands and an even quicker mind for the game. Coach Richard Williams paced the sidelines. Clipboard in hand, his weathered face set in a perpetual frown. He'd been coaching the Warriors for 15 years, bringing home 3 state championships. The local papers called him a basketball genius, but rumors of his old-school methods and favoritism had been circulating for years. "Johnson, what did I tell you about those fancy moves?" Coach Williams barked as Marcus executed a perfect behind-the-back pass to his teammate Tyler. "But, Coach, it worked. The defense didn't see it coming," Marcus argued, immediately regretting his words when he saw Coach Williams' face darken. "Get on the bench, Johnson. You'll sit out the first quarter." The decision sent whispers through the team. Marcus was their leading scorer, averaging 22 points per game. Sitting him against their biggest rivals made no sense. Marcus slumped onto bench, watching as Coach Williams put in Brad Peterson, a decent player but nowhere near Marcus's caliber. Brad was also the son of one of Coach Williams' oldest friends and a third-generation Westridge student. Marcus, on the other hand, had transferred to Westridge just last year from the inner city when his mother got a job in the suburbs. "This is bull," whispered Jamal, Marcus's best friend on the team, as he sat next to him during a timeout. "Everyone knows you should be starting." Marcus shrugged, trying to hide his frustration. "It's just one quarter," he said, but deep down he knew better. This wasn't the first time Coach Williams had singled him out unfairly. By halftime, the Warriors were down by 15 points. The Eagles' defense had easily shut down Brad, who had managed only 2 points in the entire half. The locker room was tense as Coach Williams outlined adjustments, barely acknowledging Marcus. "Coach, we need Marcus in there." Tyler, the team captain, finally spoke up. "Their center can't handle his speed." Coach Williams's eyes narrowed. "Are you the coach now, Harrison?" "No, sir, but I make the decisions here. Peterson stays in. Johnson will come in if I decide he's ready to play team basketball instead of showboating." Marcus stared at the floor, feeling the eyes of his teammates on him. This wasn't about basketball anymore. He could feel it. In the stands, Marcus's mother, Letitia Johnson, watched with growing concern. A single mother who had sacrificed everything to give her son better opportunities. She recognized what was happening. She'd seen it before, the subtle ways bias could chip away at a young black man's confidence and opportunities. "That coach has had it out for Marcus since day one," said Mr. Reynolds, their neighbor who had been attending every game to support Marcus. "And that kid's got more talent in his pinky than most of these players have in their whole body." Letitia nodded, a knot forming in her stomach. "Marcus says he's just tough on everyone, but I've been watching. It's not the same." The third quarter started, and East Side extended their lead to 20 points. The crowd grew restless, with some parents openly questioning Coach Williams' strategy. Finally, with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, he gestured for Marcus to check in. "Don't make me regret this, Johnson," he muttered as Marcus passed him. The moment Marcus stepped onto court, the energy shifted. He scored 8 points in those 2 minutes alone, his defensive pressure creating turnovers that led to easy baskets. The Warriors began to claw their way back. But as the fourth quarter began with the Warriors now down by only 12, Coach Williams inexplicably pulled Marcus again. "We need to work on our half-court offense," he explained to the assistant coach, who looked puzzled by the decision. From the bench, Marcus watched his team's momentum evaporate. With 3 minutes left in the game and the Warriors down by 16, Coach Williams finally put him back in, but it was too late. They lost by 11 points. After the game, Marcus sat alone in the locker room, long after his teammates had left. Coach Williams entered, his expression stern. "Johnson, we need to talk about your attitude and your role on this team." Marcus looked up, fighting to keep his composure. "My attitude, Coach? I've been working hard, following the playbook." "Your style doesn't fit our system," Coach Williams interrupted. "All those flashy moves might have worked at your old school, but that's not how we play here at Westridge. Those flashy moves created scoring opportunities, Coach. They work." Coach Williams' face hardened. "I'm the coach here, not you, and I'm telling you that your minutes are going to be limited until you learn to play Westridge basketball." What neither of them knew was that this conversation would be the beginning of a chain of events that would change both their lives forever. The following Monday, Marcus sat in the school counselor's office, contemplating a difficult decision. "I'm thinking about transferring back to my old school," he admitted to Mrs. Chun, the counselor who had always supported him. "Because of what happened at the game?" she asked gently. Marcus nodded. "Coach Williams, I don't think he'll ever give me a fair shot. And basketball's my ticket to college, Mrs. Chun. I can't afford to sit on the bench my senior year." Mrs. Chun leaned forward. "Before you make any decisions, there's something you should know. A scout from State University was at Friday's game. He asked about you specifically, wanted to know why you weren't playing more." Marcus's eyes widened. "For real? State University?" "For real," she confirmed with a smile. "And he's not the only one who's noticed you. Coach Williams may not see your potential, but others do." What Marcus didn't know was that word had been spreading about the talented but overlooked player at Westridge. Several college scouts had plans to attend upcoming games, and rumors even suggested that an NBA development scout had Marcus's name on his list of high school prospects to watch. As Marcus left the counselor's office with renewed determination, Coach Williams was meeting with the athletic director, defending his coaching decisions. "The Johnson boy has talent," admitted Coach Williams, "but he's undisciplined, doesn't respect authority." The athletic director, Mr. Tate, raised an eyebrow. "Funny, his academic teachers say he's one of their most respectful students. Straight A's, too." Coach Williams shifted uncomfortably. "On the court, it's different. He needs to earn his place." Little did Coach Williams know the reckoning for his unfair treatment was coming, and would arrive in the form of opportunity knocking from Marcus Johnson, opportunity that even a biased coach wouldn't be able to ignore or deny. The week following the Eagles game was a turning point for Marcus Johnson. Despite Coach Williams' continued cold treatment, Marcus doubled down on his commitment. He arrived at practice 30 minutes early and stayed an hour late, working on the fundamentals that Coach Williams claimed he lacked. "What are you still doing here, Johnson?" Coach Williams asked one evening, finding Marcus practicing free throws in the empty gym. "Working on my game, Coach," Marcus replied without breaking his rhythm. Swish. Another perfect shot. The coach watched silently for a moment. "Your form is too loose. You won't hit those under pressure." As if to disprove the point, Marcus sank 5 more shots in a row, his technique flawless. Coach Williams frowned. "Lock up when you're done," he said before walking away, refusing to acknowledge what he just witnessed. In the school hallways, Marcus's teammates had begun to openly question their coach's decisions. Tyler, the team captain, confronted Marcus at his locker. "This isn't right, man. Everyone knows you should be starting." Marcus shrugged. "I just gotta keep working." "It's not about your work ethic," Tyler insisted. "Brad's my friend, but even he knows you're better. Coach is being—" Tyler didn't finish the sentence, but he didn't need to. They both understood what he meant. That Friday's game was against Riverside High, a team with a dominant 7-foot center who was already committed to Duke University. The matchup had drawn attention from college scouts and local media. As the team warmed up, Marcus noticed a small group of men in the stands, clipboards in hand, watching intently. His heart raced when he recognized one of them, Dave Mitchell, a well-known scout from State University. "Johnson," Coach Williams barked, "you're starting today." The sudden change in strategy caught Marcus off guard. "Really, coach?" "Don't make me repeat myself," Williams muttered. "Their big guy is too much for Peterson to handle. Just stick to the plays and don't get creative." Marcus nodded, suppressing a smile. His first start in weeks, and it happened to be when scouts were watching. Perhaps Coach Williams was finally recognizing his talent. But as the game began, Marcus realized the truth was more complicated. Coach Williams had put him in to handle Riverside Star Center, the toughest defensive assignment possible. It wasn't recognition. It was setting him up for failure. He wanted to get embarrassed in front of the scouts. Marcus thought as he took his position for the tip-off, facing a player who towered over him by 6 inches. The first quarter was brutal. Riverside center Jason Miller scored 12 points in the paint, seemingly unstoppable. But Marcus studied his moves, looking for patterns, weaknesses. "Johnson, what did I tell you about fronting him?" Coach Williams shouted during a timeout. "You're letting him establish position too easily." "Coach, I think I can just do as I say." In the second quarter, Marcus tried a different approach. Instead of challenging Miller directly, he focused on disrupting his timing, denying him the ball, using his quickness to compensate for the height disadvantage. It worked. Miller scored only 4 points in the second quarter, growing visibly frustrated as Marcus kept appearing exactly where he didn't want him to be. In the stands, the scouts began taking more notes, their attention fixed on the undersized offender, who was neutralizing a Duke commit through pure basketball IQ and determination. At halftime, with the Warriors down by only 3 points, Coach Williams grudgingly acknowledged Marcus's defensive effort but offered no praise. "Keep it up," was all he said before turning to discuss offensive adjustments. Marcus's mother, sitting with Mr. Reynolds in the stands, couldn't contain her pride. "That's my boy," she said, wiping away a tear. "Play his heart out even when the coach doesn't appreciate him." Mr. Reynolds nodded. "And those men over there? They're appreciating every minute of it." He pointed discreetly to the scouts who were huddled together, comparing notes. The second half transformed from a defensive showcase into Marcus's offensive coming-out party. As Riverside adjusted their defense to double-team the Warriors' outside shooters, Marcus found himself with opportunities to attack the basket. He scored 15 points in the third quarter alone, a combination of driving layups, mid-range jumpers, and even a three-pointer that brought the home crowd to their feet. His teammates began looking for him on every possession, recognizing that he had the hot hand. Coach Williams, despite witnessing Marcus's dominance, remained stoic. During timeouts, he barely acknowledged a scoring outburst, instead focusing on minor defensive breakdowns or praising other players for routine plays. "Coach is unbelievable," Jamal whispered to Tyler during a free throw. "Marcus is carrying us, and he can't even give him props." With 2 minutes left in the game and the Warriors up by 4, disaster struck. As Marcus soared for a rebound, Miller undercut him, sending him crashing to the floor. Marcus landed awkwardly on his ankle, pain shooting up his leg. The gym fell silent as Marcus writhed on the court. The team trainer rushed out to examine him. "It's just a sprain," the trainer announced after a brief examination. "He needs to come out, though." As Marcus limped to the bench with assistants, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. He had scored 27 points and held one of the top high school prospects in the country to his lowest output of the season. Even in pain, Marcus noticed something that made his heart skip. More scouts had arrived during the game. Among them was a face he recognized from NBA draft coverage, Ron Davis, a talent scout known for identifying potential NBA prospects early. Were they here to see Miller? Marcus wondered. Or had word spread about him? Coach Williams, surprisingly, knelt in front of Marcus. "Can you go back in?" he asked, his voice uncharacteristically urgent. Marcus understood immediately. With him on the bench, their lead had evaporated to a single point. Despite his previous treatment, the coach needed him now. "I can try, Coach," Marcus answered, testing his ankle. "Only if you're sure," the coach added, a hint of genuine concern in his voice. Marcus re-entered the game with 40 seconds left, his ankle throbbing but his determination unwavering. On the final possession, with the Warriors up by 1 and Riverside pressuring, Marcus broke free, for an alley-oop pass from Tyler. Despite his injury, he soared above the rim, throwing down a thunderous dunk that sealed the victory. The gym erupted. His teammates mobbed him as the buzzer sounded. Through the celebration, Marcus caught sight of the scouts, all of them on their feet, nodding appreciatively. In the locker room afterward, the atmosphere was electric. Teammates praised Marcus's performance, recounting specific plays with admiration. Coach Williams, however, remained subdued during his post-game speech. "Good team win tonight," he said, avoiding direct mention of Marcus's contribution. Everyone did their part. As the players dispersed, Coach Williams called Marcus back. "Nice game, Johnson," he said stiffly, as though the words pained him. "Get that ankle checked out properly tomorrow." It wasn't much, but coming from Coach Williams, it felt significant. Outside the locker room, Marcus was surprised to find not only his mother waiting, but also Mr. Davis, the NBA scout. "Marcus Johnson?" The scout extended his hand. "Ron Davis. I'd like to talk to you and your mother for a moment, if that's okay?" Mrs. Johnson's eyes widened as she recognized the implications. "Of course," she replied, squeezing Marcus's hand. "I'll be brief," Mr. Davis said. "I came here to scout Jason Miller, but I'm leaving with your name at the top of my report. Your basketball IQ, your defensive instincts, your poise under pressure, these are things that can't be taught." Marcus stood speechless as the scout continued. "You're on our radar now. We'll be watching the rest of your season closely. If you keep this up, there could be opportunities beyond college for you." As the scout handed Marcus his card, Coach Williams emerged from the locker room, freezing when he saw the conversation taking place. "Coach Williams," Mr. Davis acknowledged with a nod. "You've got quite a player here. Though I have to say, I'm surprised you haven't been featuring him more prominently." The coach's face flushed. "Marcus has been developing within our system." "Well, whatever you're doing, it's working," the scout replied with a knowing smile. "I'll be back to see more games this season." As Mr. Davis walked away, the reality of the situation crystallized for Coach Williams. The player he had been holding back was now being courted by NBA scouts. His bias, whether conscious or unconscious, had nearly cost a talented young man his future, and had nearly cost himself the crown jewel of his coaching career. The following Monday, Marcus limped into Coach Williams' office, responding to a request to meet before school. He found the coach sitting behind his desk, looking troubled. "How's the ankle?" Coach Williams asked. "Better. Doctor says I'll be ready for Friday's game." The coach nodded, then fell silent for a long moment. "I watched the game film this weekend," he finally said. "All of it. Not just Friday's game, but every game this season." Marcus waited, unsure where this was going. "I've been coaching a long time, Johnson. Long enough that sometimes I think I know everything there is to know about this game." Coach Williams looked up, meeting Marcus's eyes directly for perhaps the first time. "But watching that film made me realize something important." He stood and walked to the window, overlooking the empty court. "I haven't been fair to you, have I?" Coach Williams' admission hung in the air between them. Marcus stood silently, processing the unexpected turn in their relationship. "No, Coach," Marcus finally said, his voice steady. "You haven't been fair." Coach Williams nodded, accepting the truth in Marcus's words. "I've been coaching for 20 years, and I've always prided myself on seeing talent clearly. But with you," he paused, struggling with his next words, "I let other things cloud my judgment." "What things?" Marcus asked, though he already knew the answer. Coach Williams turned to face him directly. "Things that have nothing to do with basketball. The way you grew up, where you came from, how you express yourself on the court." He ran a hand through his thinning hair. "I told myself it was about discipline and system, but that was just an excuse." Marcus felt a complex mix of emotions. Validation that his suspicions had been correct, anger at the unfairness he'd endured, but also a strange respect for the coach's willingness to acknowledge his bias. "I can't change how I've treated you in the past," Coach Williams continued, "but I can promise it will be different going forward. Your talent deserves to be developed, not suppressed." For the first time, Marcus felt he was seeing the real Coach Williams, not the stern, unyielding figure who would bench him repeatedly, but a flawed man capable of growth and change. "I appreciate that, Coach," Marcus said, "but I need to know what changed. Was it just the scouts showing up?" The question hung between them, its implications clear. Would Coach Williams have ever recognized his bias if outside validation hadn't forced him to? Partly, the coach admitted with surprising honesty. "Seeing those scouts recognize what I've been blind to, that was a wake-up call. But it was also watching that game film, seeing your basketball IQ, your decision-making, your leadership when the team needed it most." He shook his head. "I've been coaching long enough to know greatness when I see it. I just wasn't letting myself see it." The coach extended his hand. "I can't undo the past, Johnson, but I'm asking for the chance to be the coach you deserve going forward." Marcus considered the outstretched hand. Part of him wanted to reject it, to hold on to the justified anger of being denied opportunities because of who he was. But another part recognized something rare, a person confronting their own prejudice and committing to change. He took the coach's hand. "I'm willing to try if you are, Coach." As news of Marcus's performance against Riverside spread, the dynamics within Westridge High shifted dramatically. Students who had barely acknowledged him now greeted him in hallways. Teachers who had seen him only as a quiet student now recognized him as a rising star. Even Principal Davis, who rarely attended sporting events, made a point of congratulating him. "The scouts are coming back for Thursday's practice," Coach Williams announced to the team 2 days later. "And they're bringing friends. We need to be ready." The team's eyes all shifted to Marcus, who tried to appear nonchalant despite the electricity running through him. "This is an opportunity not just for Marcus, but for all of you," the coach continued. "Scouts might come for one player, but they notice everyone on the court. So bring your A game." The practice at Thursday was unlike any the Warriors had experienced. 6 scouts sat in the bleachers, representing various colleges and one NBA development program. Coach Williams, true to his word, had restructured the offense to showcase not just Marcus, but all his teammates' strengths. "Johnson, talk me through this play," Coach Williams called out during a drill, handing Marcus his clipboard. "How would you adjust it against a zone defense?" The team watched in surprise as Marcus diagrammed a variation, explaining his reasoning with confidence. The coach nodded appreciatively. "Good thinking. Let's try it," he said, giving Marcus a brief pat on the shoulder, a small gesture that spoke volumes about their evolving relationship. Brad Peterson, who had benefited most from Coach Williams' previous favoritism, approached Marcus during a water break. "Hey, I just wanted to say, I know it wasn't right. How Coach was playing me over you," Brad admitted uncomfortably. "For what it's worth, I always knew you were better." Marcus nodded, appreciating the honesty. "It wasn't your fault, man." "Still," Brad continued, "I'm glad things are changing, and I'm trying to learn from you. Your crossover is sick." In the stands, Marcus's mother watched with Mrs. Chun, the school counsel who had encouraged Marcus not to transfer. "I've never seen him smile so much on the court," Mrs. Johnson observed. Mrs. Chun nodded. "Amazing what happens when someone's talent is recognized rather than suppressed." "The scouts don't hurt either," Mrs. Johnson chuckled, gesturing to the attentive observers taking notes. As practice concluded, Ron Davis, the NBA scout who had first approached Marcus, walked onto court with Coach Williams. "Marcus, can we talk for a minute?" Coach Williams called. Marcus jogged over, trying to contain his nervousness. "Mr. Davis has a proposition for you," the coach explained, a hint of pride in his voice that Marcus had never heard before. "We're hosting a high school showcase during NBA All-Star Weekend," Davis explained. "Top 50 prospects in the country, after what I saw last week. And today, I'd like to extend an invitation to you." Marcus struggled to process the information. A showcase? During All-Star Weekend? NBA coaches, general managers, and scouts will all be there, Davis confirmed. "It's a chance to put yourself on the map nationally." Marcus looked at Coach Williams, who was smiling openly now. "Coach, it's an incredible opportunity," Williams said, "and you've earned it. We'll make sure you're ready." The news of Marcus's invitation to the NBA showcase transformed the final months of the basketball season. Local media picked up the story, running features on the overlooked talent who had caught the attention of professional scouts. Local star rises despite ODS, read the headline in the Westridge Chronicle, accompanied by a photo of Marcus soaring for a dunk. The article delicately addressed the issues of opportunity and recognition without directly accusing Coach Williams of bias, but the implications were clear to anyone who had followed the team. For his part, Coach Williams committed fully to Marcus's development. After practice sessions became a regular occurrence, with the coach staying late to work on specific aspects of Marcus's game. Your mid-range jumper is almost unstoppable, Coach Williams observed during one such session. But at the next level, you'll need to extend your range. Let's work on your three-point shooting. The Warriors went on a winning streak, climbing to the top of their district standings. Marcus averaged 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. But more importantly, his teammates elevated their play alongside him. Brad Peterson developed into a reliable three-point specialist. Jamal became an elite defender. Tyler's playmaking flourished now that he had Marcus as a consistent target. Coach Williams, meanwhile, underwent his own transformation. He began studying contemporary coaching techniques, moving away from his rigid, old-school approach. He consulted Marcus on game strategies, recognizing his basketball intellect as an asset rather than a threat to his authority. You know, you might make a good coach someday, Williams told Marcus after they had spent an hour breaking down game film together. Marcus grinned. I'm planning on playing for a long time first, coach. As you should, Williams agreed. But remember, the best players see the game differently. They understand it at a deeper level. You have that vision. The state tournament arrived with Westridge seated second in their region. Marcus entered the gymnasium for their first-round game to find it packed with spectators, including a dozen college coaches and scouts. Ignore the crowd, Coach Williams advised during warm-ups. Focus on playing your game, the game I've been trying to get you not to play all year. He chuckled at his own admission. The Warriors dominated their first two opponents, advancing to the regional final against their old rivals, Eastside Eagles, the team they had lost to when Coach Williams had benched Marcus earlier in the season. Redemption game, Jamal said as they prepared in the locker room. Coach Williams gathered the team for his pre-game talk. A lot has changed since we played Eastside last, he began. We're a different team now. I'm a different coach. He looked directly at Marcus. Because sometimes growth comes from recognizing where you've been wrong and having the courage to change course. The game against Eastside became an instant classic. The lead changed hands 14 times, with neither team able to pull ahead by more than 6 points. Marcus played all 32 minutes, his performance a complete showcase of his skills, scoring, rebounding, defending, and elevating his teammates. With 10 seconds remaining and the Warriors down by 1 point, Coach Williams called timeout to set up the final play. All right, this is it, he said, drawing on his clipboard. We all know who their defense will focus on. He looked at Marcus. So, Johnson, I want you to be a decoy on this play. Set the screen for Tyler, then roll to the corner. Their center will follow you, leaving the lane open for Brad. The players nodded, but as they prepared to break the huddle, Marcus spoke up. Coach, I have another idea. He took the clipboard and quickly diagrammed an alternative play. What if we use their expectations against them? Coach Williams studied the diagram, then looked up at Marcus with a smile of recognition. You know what? Let's do it your way. As the final seconds ticked down, the play unfolded exactly as Marcus had envisioned. He set the screen as planned, drawing double coverage as he rolled to the corner. But instead of staying there, he immediately cut back toward the basket, catching the defense off guard. Tyler delivered a perfect bounce pass, and Marcus finished with a reverse layup as the buzzer sounded. Westridge 68, Eastside 67. The team erupted in celebration, swarming Marcus at center court. Coach Williams waited at the edge of the celebration, a complex mixture of emotions on his face. Pride, joy, and perhaps a touch of regret for the opportunities he had almost denied this extraordinary young man. As the team headed to the state finals, local media coverage intensified. A reporter from the state's largest newspaper interviewed both Marcus and Coach Williams, asking pointed questions about their relationship. There were some challenges early on, Coach Williams admitted. But Coaching isn't just about teaching players. Sometimes it's about learning from them too. Marcus, for his part, showed remarkable grace. Coach Williams pushed me to be better, just in ways neither of us expected, he said, choosing diplomacy over dwelling on past injustices. The Warriors fell short in the state championship game, losing to a powerhouse private school with 3 Division I commits. But Marcus's 35-point performance on the biggest stage only enhanced his growing reputation. After the game, as the team sat quietly in the locker room processing their defeat, Coach Williams delivered his final speech of the season. "I've coached championship teams before," he began, "but I've never been prouder of a group than I am of you, not just for how you played, but for how you've grown, as players and as young men." He turned to Marcus. "And I've never learned more from a player than I have from you, Johnson. Not just about basketball, but about recognizing talent and potential regardless of where it comes from or how it expresses itself." 2 months later, at the NBA All-Star Weekend Showcase, Marcus performed brilliantly in front of the basketball world's elite evaluators. College scholarship offers poured in, including one from State University, where he ultimately committed. On signing day, with cameras flashing and his mother beaming beside him, Marcus surprised everyone by acknowledging Coach Williams. "I want to thank Coach for eventually becoming the mentor I needed," he said. "Our journey wasn't always smooth, but it taught me something important. People can change, they can confront their biases, they can grow. And sometimes that growth creates opportunities that might never have existed otherwise." Coach Williams, standing at the back of the room, nodded in silent appreciation. A man forever changed by the player he had almost failed to see. The following season, Coach Williams implemented a new scouting system at Westridge, one designed to identify talent from all backgrounds. He began conducting clinics in inner-city neighborhoods, building bridges to communities he had previously overlooked. And on his office wall, alongside his championship photographs, he hung a framed article about Marcus Johnson's journey, a daily reminder that sometimes the greatest coaching achievement isn't winning championships, but recognizing potential, overcoming bias, and giving talented young athletes the opportunity they deserve.